When I teach golf schools, I get excited when the students come to our academy and I get to work with them one-on-one. It's because I can get into some detail. I don't get into lots of detail when I first teach you the swing because I want you to realize the swing is very simple. But when you come to a golf school, I like to get into the nuance, the things that could really, really help learn the single point swing. Today we're going to talk about the lead hand and the lead thumb position. Welcome to the channel today. Let's get into some detail about the lead hand. And you know I talk about biomechanics, and then the stuff I like to talk about is the things that produce the natural motion of the body. In other words, the swing is inside of you. If you position your body correctly, you position your hands, your tilt, your head position, your feet position, all the things you can do to position your body, put you in a position to make a motion that uses the way your body is naturally designed. This is why the swing is already inside of you. But you got to get into some detail about this because it's not just grab the club, set up with a little tilt and move. The things like the lead hand position can really have a huge effect. Matter of fact, I will give golf lessons. Matter of fact, I flew to 3 states over the other day to teach a guy some information about his hand position, and within 2 minutes teaching him the lead hand position, he was excited because that was a missing piece of what he was doing, was his journey to hitting a golf ball better. So let's get into the lead hand position and what I find so critically important and some interesting things I saw when I first saw Moe hit golf balls. When I first saw Moe do this, it was in his finish position. I know it's weird, but you know, I used to analyze Moe's swing. I used to look at it pretty heavily. I used to really look into detail. Matter of fact, I would measure every aspect I could. I was the guy that would crawl on the ground and take pictures of what was going on when Moe would strike golf balls. I wanted to know the details of why he was so great. And I saw something in his lead hand, and I saw a gap. I saw a gap between this thumb and his index finger. Now, this gap, there's a real important reason behind this. Matter of fact, Ben Hogan talked about this too. But this gap right here is where it produces another range of motion limit. There's biomechanics behind it. Call me crazy, but when I saw Moe hit golf balls, I took nothing for granted. If his lead thumb was in a position, there had to be a reason for it. If his index finger was somewhere, there had to be a reason for it. If his foot position was particularly oriented or rotated, there had to be a reason for it. There was nothing idiosyncratic about it. There was a biomechanical reason for it. Well, the biomechanics behind the lead hand are really interesting because if I take this hand, number one, I have to have the fingers very close together. This allows, people ask me about grip pressure. That's a different position to have pressure than if I have my hand separated where the index finger sticks out. That produces a different wrist position. Watch this. If I take my hand and I have this index finger sticking out, the pressure, I create an angle. If I bring the index finger under the club this way, it releases the wrist into what we call ulnar deviation. So I go from having less ulnar deviation to more ulnar deviation just from my fingers being close together. That's the first step. The second step is now you see my thumb. And the thumb, it's not long and it's not short. It's kind of in the middle, but the thumb position produces a radial stop. I'm going to show what that is here. So by having, you'll see this little gap between the thumb and my index finger. You see a gap here. So what's happening in the lead hand now is, number one, I have orientation of the hand. This is where Moe Norman was tilted. His lead hand is oriented, the hand's to the target. That's what squares the face. So now I have the face of the club with the back of the hand. Well, that makes sense because that's where, when I go to impact, it's going to be a full range of motion. Again, that's my range of motion limit, and that squares the face. So Moe is able to square a club face every single time. Moe is able to square the club face every single time because of his range of motion limit of the hand position. So that's orientation. But the thumb position is really interesting because with that thumb in the correct spot, when I take the club back, people talk about wrist hinge. When I take the club back, you can see that when I hinge my wrists, you see how it could only go so far in the hinge. That's because this thumb position is creating a radial stop. The club is now stopping at that point. It's only allowing my wrist to go so far. If I take this thumb and I don't have it in the right spot, the wrist can move. Look at that, it changes the angle, it changes the club face, it can go everywhere. That thumb position is producing a radial stop to the wrist. So now think about this. I have 2 range of motion limits in my lead wrist. I have one in the backswing at the top and then one in the impact. Well, what's more important than that? Where I leverage the club and where I release the club. So watch this. So when I set up, my wrist is unhinged. My orientation is to the target. I can take the club back into its radial stop. See that radial stop? When I come down, I can unhinge the wrist and it goes into its range of motion. So it's going leverage, square, leverage, square. And you wonder why Moe is the greatest ball striker that's ever played the game. It's because he naturally put his body in these range of motion limits. He put himself in a position where he couldn't screw it up. Right? You understand that? He put his body in a position, even with the hands, where he couldn't screw it up. The trail hand, by the way, Moe called it along for the ride. That's what he used to tell me. But now this trail hand, look at it. It's just doing like this. It's actually just accelerating. So this hand's going, hey, I'll just go like this, and I'll put some speed into the club. So this one's going, hey, square the face. Leverage, square, speed. Moe said the rod and the claw. That's what's happening with these hands. But I want you to, in this video, just pay attention to that. These details matter. I think people grab the club sometimes, they just grab it, they think they have it right, but they don't. And what happens is they start to swing and these hands produce all these weird angles and they wonder why they're not consistent. All right, so let me show you a golf swing here. I'm gonna show you how consistent this can be. It all starts with having it correctly placed at address. I'm putting the hand in the proper orientation, the thumb in the correct position. I take the club back, hit a limit, impact hits a limit, and I just release the club. So I'm gonna set up, single plane address, look at my lead arm, lead hand, nice position of that thumb. Now I'm gonna take the club back, it's gonna hit a limit, I'm gonna come right back down, and it's gonna release the club, and it's gonna square the face. That's all I can do is square the face because of the orientation of the hand. Here we go, watch this, back and down. And again, it's so easy to hit it straight, but more importantly, it's so easy to be consistent because this hand's going like this, going back and down the exact same way because of my thumb position, the hand orientation, and the fact that it's a natural range of motion limit here and range of motion limit there. Hope that helps you understand why Moe Norman was so great. Ben Hogan talked about this too. Hope that helps you square a club face and understand how the body and the swing is already inside of you.